So the Penguin Series 1 has finished, and to sum up, Sophia ends up back in Arkham, Victor gets killed by the Penguin, and the Penguin gets his victory, taking control of all the gangs and having what his version of victory looks like. He successfully achieved being the kingpin he wanted to be, and after a lengthy gang war ended up on top, getting rid of his main competitor, Sophia Falcone. His mother is paralysed and is essentially trapped inside her own body, so she's forced to remain in a hospital bed in Penguin's penthouse. This is one of the best series I've watched in a while, but today we're going to be talking a bit about the ending and what this means going into Batman 2 and what some of my thoughts and predictions are. The Penguin series was originally designed to set up the character of Oswald going into the Batman 2 movie, and the series does a great job with this, and I think the last episode, and more specifically the ending of the last episode, does a really good job of rounding up the series and also ending on a kind of cliffhanger going into the Batman 2. Before we get into the video, please make sure to subscribe, as it would mean a lot to me. I'm not going to go through the whole 8th episode as there is quite a lot, but essentially at the end of the episode, Oz is dancing with Eve, who's dressed in his mother's dress, which is kind of a bit weird, but I guess Oz wanted to make it feel like he was reliving that childhood moment of dancing with his mom. But obviously now his mom's paralysed, so he can't do that. And as it zooms out of Oz's penthouse, we see the bat signal appear in the sky. The series finishes with the Penguin going from a standard criminal at the start to being more of a completed comic book villain. And he even wears the tuxedo that the Penguin often wears in other iterations of the character, such as some of the cartoons, some of the games like Batman Arkham Asylum. And even the Penguin of a Batman wears this kind of suit as well, with a bow tie and a top hat. Batman 2 is meant to take place right after the events of the Penguin, so this could be literally either in the same scene or maybe a couple of months down the line. I don't think it will be set much further after the last episode of the Penguin. We do know that both Sophia and Oz are expected to appear in the Batman 2, but they won't be the main villain in this movie. So I'm guessing that either it's going to be characters such as maybe side villains, or just be adding to the general storyline. There is a lot of speculation over who the villain will be in the Batman 2, but a lot of people have said they think it's going to be Mr. Freeze, just as the only bit of information we have on Batman 2 villain is that it's going to be based near wintertime, and we know we haven't seen a iteration of Mr. Freeze since one of the old Batman films, and even that character wasn't probably the best, so I think it is likely to be Mr. Freeze. But Batman does a good job of including maybe 2 to 3 villains in each film, so I think that might be the case with this one as well. I think if the Penguin is going to go against Batman, he is going to be a good match for him, because by the end of the 8th episode, the Penguin is literally some unhinged, completely lost it criminal, but he's also very powerful now and is in control of all the gangs and holds a lot of power in the city. We know he has no limitations and is literally willing to kill or do anything to get on top and then stay on top. We know we're definitely going to see Oz in the next Batman film, but there are other teasers as well online about people even hinting at a second season of The Penguin that's meant to set place in between Batman 2 and Batman 3, because we know we are planning on seeing another 2 of these Batman films by Matt Reeves. So what does the bat signal mean, and why was the bat signal only placed at the end of the film, and why was the Batman not in the Penguin? So as a summary, I think the reason why this has happened was because at the start Penguin was more of a small-time criminal, but as the gang war went on throughout the season, he was making a lot of noise within the underground of Gotham, doing a lot of killings, even having like a lot of explosions and crime scenes. So I think what might have happened is it's got to the point where it's kind of either hit Jim Gordon's radar or Batman's radar, and the bat signal has turned on to launch an investigation into the crime war. Reeves has previously confirmed that Oz will be one of the entry points into the Batman Part 2, and it is planned to start being filmed next year. I think it was a good idea to keep the Batman out of the Penguin series, as I think because he's such a strong character, it'll probably take away from some of the other characters within the season, and I think they did a great job with the characters. Penguin, Sophia, Victor, all the characters in the season were really good, and it was very refreshing to see such a good DC season, as I can't remember the last time I actually enjoyed watching a DC season, and it's probably one of my best superhero series of all time, especially if you compare it to some of the stuff on Disney Plus for Marvel series, as this is just way levels above that from the acting, the storyline, and the overall feel of the series. I think it did a good job of teasing at the Batman without actually showing the Batman, and we might get some clues in the Batman 2 about what he was doing during this time when Oz was taking over. Details of the Batman 2 are a bit scarce at the moment, but I think it's clear Oz will play a vital part in the movie. In episode 8 we did see Oz in a courtroom, and in my opinion I think this signifies that Oz might go into some sort of politics within Gotham, which will give him power on par or even above the law. and I think this would be a great dynamic to see in the Batman 2. I also think that Sophia will return in Batman 2 alongside her sister Catwoman, which got teased in the last part of episode 8. Overall, I did really enjoy the show, and I've only watched it through once, but I am planning on watching it through again. I think it showed so much just within the 8 episodes it has. I think this was a great example of how to make a short series, so jam-packed with different characters, different scenes and different moments. We don't have a huge amount of information about the Batman 2 yet. I am really looking forward to that film, as I thought the Batman 1 was great. But let me know what you guys think about the Penguin series and how this ties into the Batman, and what do you think your predictions are about the Batman 2 and what the storyline will be within that movie. Thanks for watching.